Hello Natalie, sorry the rest of the staff are not attending. There must have been another meeting, but I was told to have 5 meetings to discuss copyright issues. Was that your understanding also?
Yes, Bob. That was my understanding also. I would suggest we just begin, and if others come around, we can include them. Is that okay?
Natalie, I think the most important thing I can say about copyright issues is that on first appearance, they seem extremely complicated, and if I was going to be a lawyer, I would be specializing in copyright law. However, it is not as difficult as it may seem.
I see, Bob. You handed out the 5 tools to review, and I have had a chance to review, and this whole copyright thing seems overwhelming, but breaking it down, it may not be so bad.
The Teach Act is very important right off the bat in dealing with copyright issues. The Teach Act was signed on November 2, 2002, by President Bush, and it redefines that non-profit educational institutions throughout the United States may use copyright-protected materials in distance education without permission from the copyright owner and without payment of royalties.
I will read the handout more closely for the next meeting, Bob. What is your second point of importance on copyright and fair use?
I printed out the copyright and fair use information and reviewed. A copyright is a set of exclusive legal rights authors have over their works for a limited time period.
Please excuse me, Bob. Does the Constitution of the U.S. encourage copyrights?
Yes, the Constitution said that its purpose is to promote science and the useful arts. The government believed those who created an original expression need protection for their work. Let's review the fair use. Stanford University website before next meeting for additional information.
You bet, Bob. There is a lot of information of value to review from this tool site. For example, who do you register your work with? When I completed my dissertation, my university made it so simple, and I obtained a copyright on my work through the university.
Natalie, you must register with the United States Copyright Office. You must file a very simple form and 2 examples of the work. And the copyright is for 70 years.
What types of work does copyright protect?
Good question, Natalie. Copyright protects works such as poetry, movies, CD-ROMs, video games, plays, paintings, sheet music, records, music performances, novels, software code, sculptures, photographs, choreography, and architectural designs.
That just about covers everything, doesn't it?
You bet, Natalie. A good way to review fair use cases is to examine cases. On your handout there is a list of numerous cases that included fair use. Can you tell me about 2 cases, Natalie?
The 2 most interesting fair use cases was one when publisher Larry Flynt made disparaging statements about the Reverend Jerry Falwell in his magazine, Hustler. The second case involved 41 seconds from a boxing match film in the biography of Muhammad Ali. In both instances, it was fair use.
Very good, Natalie. Can you give me 2 cases where there was not fair use?
Yes, Bob. In Ringgold vs. Black Entertainment Television, Incorporated 1997, it was determined a poster of a church quilt was used in the background of a television series for 27 seconds. The court found this was not fair use as the poster involved a conventional practice to license. A second case includes entire publications of the Church of Scientology were posted by several individuals without the church's permission. Fair use is intended to permit the borrowing of portions of a work, not complete works.
That's impressive, Natalie. There are hundreds of cases involving both fair use and not fair use. At our next meeting we will discuss a few more. Interesting. What left here in my tools? Oh yeah. Copyright in an electronic environment. Pull out your handout and let us review a couple of points.
Okay, Bob. There are many points, but let me give you 2. 1. Educators and students need not write for permission if their presentation falls within the specific multimedia fair use guidelines. 2. A breakdown includes text up to 10% of a copyrighted work, motion media up to 10% of a copyrighted work, or 3 minutes, whichever is less. Music up to 10% of a copyrighted musical composition, but no more than 30 seconds. Bob, it seems each media has specific parameters. One needs to key on the areas they are using. Right?
Natalie, you hit the nail on the head, so to speak. Good job. The last area we need to discuss is the Creative Commons website, but we will wait until next week to address. Bottom line here is when you break it down, it makes more sense.
And Bob, if one is going to use other people's copyrighted work, it makes sense to vector in on the specifics, just in case. Bob, just one more question here. Why do you have a fork in your back?
Well, I thought this particular assignment was a pain from the administrators, but after discussing with you and reviewing all the good materials made available, it was not so bad. I am sorry our colleagues were too busy to participate though. Anyway, let's meet next week to continue our discussion.
Thanks, Bob. I learned a lot.